Welcome to the American Roundtable. This is a show that you don't want to miss. It's part two of a two-part series on the metaphysical, the spiritual. We're talking with the man who knows. He has studied. He has a PhD in metaphysical science. His name is Paul Meckes. My name is Al Spry. Thank you so much for joining us here on the American Roundtable on Tough TV and Tough TV 38 in Orlando. We are so happy to be here across the country. And remember, if you love this show and you love the other shows on Tough TV, remember to ask your cable operator and tell him, actually, I want my Tough TV. Paul, it's so great to have you back on this two-part series. How are you doing today,
Great
sir?
to be back, Al. Wonderful.
We got into some interesting topics last time you were on, and I wanted to continue along those lines. But first, I want to give people a little background. Why don't you go ahead and tell people about yourself?
I've got a PhD, a doctorate in metaphysical science, and started Claremont Paranormal about 4 or 5 years ago. I've always been interested in the paranormal, metaphysical, supernatural, what we call it. We have many names for it. Ever since I was a child. And as I got older through life, I realized there's something to this. It needs to be studied, and it needs to be studied carefully. That way we have a way to explain it and help people that are facing encounters that they can't handle.
Or can't explain.
Or can't explain.
I want to jump right in. What's the most powerful experience you ever had with the other side, so to speak?
I was staying in an abandoned house. This is quite a few years ago, and a friend of mine's place. He was staying there. It was a rental, and throughout the night.
Was he asking you to look into this?
We knew it was active. He knew it was active when we were staying there, and I felt it as soon as I walked into the house. I just felt this energy. Just felt it, a little unease, and then it would just come and go. Mm-hmm. And I decided, well, I'm going to spend the night. So we played cards, and sat back. And when everybody got tired, I laid down on the couch. And through the evening, through the night, I woke up and I was looking up at the ceiling, and I saw a guy with a brown pork pie hat staring down at me, standing behind the couch. And
pork pie hat.
Pork pie hat.
Which is like a little fedora.
Yeah, a little fedora.
Yeah.
And it was dark. I'm staring at him, and at first I was like, anybody would be like, oh my God, what's that? Freak out and just run out of the house or something.
You don't seem like a freak out kind of fella.
No, unless it's like Freddy Krueger or something.
Right.
But
who also wore a pork pie hat.
Yeah.
That's another story.
There you go. But I knew about the paranormal. I knew, okay, well, we were talking about this guy with the hat earlier that evening before everybody retired for the night. So it was as though I was expecting him to show up and him coming and reaching out to me.
I want to get back to this because I want to explore this a little bit more. This is American Roundtable. We talk about everything on this show, but we're talking about the paranormal today with Paul Meckes, my friend and colleague. And we will have more for you on this wonderful show on Tough TV 38 in Orlando and the Tough TV network right after this. Welcome back to the American Roundtable, Spooky Edition. Right here on Tough TV 38 and the Tough TV network. I'm Al Spry. I'm here with Paul Meckes. Paul Meckes is an ordained metaphysician. What's that? He plays with ghosts. For a better phrase, right?
Better phrase, yeah.
We hear about these things, even going back to movies like Poltergeist and shows. What other shows would have touched on this?
Ghostbusters.
In a lighthearted fashion.
Yeah.
But you were relaying in the last segment a story of an experience that you had in an abandoned house with a gentleman wearing a pork pie hat. You felt the energy as soon as you entered the home. You decided to stay there with your friend to see what would occur. So what happens? Let's get to cut to the chase.
So I was laying there sleeping, and I woke up to get ready, go to the restroom, and I see the gentleman standing over the back of the couch, kind of looking down at me, and I wasn't scared because I was expecting him to kind of reach out or kind of contact me in some form, and that was my first apparition that I had ever personally had experienced it, and but I felt that he was trying to reach out to me, saying, "Hey, I'm here. How you doing? I exist." Because at the same time, I kind of doubted a little bit. It was before I got into the metaphysical aspect of my doctorate. It was about maybe 15 or 16 years ago.
Before you did your studies?
Before I did my studies, yeah. So.
Was he friendly?
Yeah, he didn't appear aggressive in any way. Just standing there going, "Hey, how you doing?" Either
when you see this is a question I've always had. Are they tied to that sphere? Can they bounce around different places in the universe, or are they set in that specific place? Are they trapped, or what are your thoughts now that you've done the studies?
The consensus to spirits, several different phases or different ways it could work is depending on the death of the person, how they passed, their consciousness, their emotional attachment to where they are, where they've lived. What is their emotional attachment of that? Mm-hmm. It's been said that they can, in spirit, have that attachment to a house, a vehicle, a particular place, or even time. In the spirit realm, time, space is irrelevant, where people hear things or see things specifically at a specific point of time at night, day, like, oh, I hear this every night at 3 o'clock, or every afternoon at 5 o'clock. And so that attachment that's what happens is it's like a replay, like a fingerprint or a blueprint of spirit within what they've left behind, the type of energy.
Would you say it's almost like a recording of it?
Kind of, yeah, like a replay of events.
But it's not, is it actually them, or is it just kind of like...
It's not actually them, it's the energy. We are made up of energy. Our emotions we create through thought, reality. Thought is creative. Now, when that powerful energy of either how they died or their life at a particular point in time of their life before they passed is imprinted within the space-time at a particular place of that energy. And not everybody actually may experience this blueprint or this fingerprint that happens. Mm-hmm. Maybe you're only experiencing it. Maybe a couple people are experiencing it. So yeah, it's very interesting. It's something to be more studied on.
Actually, yeah, I want to relate a little story. I'll start it and then we can continue on. But my wife and I like to go on ghost tours in cities like Savannah, Georgia, New Orleans, places that have a high energy of spirit locations, right?
Yeah.
A lot of stuff has happened.
Civil wars,
yes.
Deaths.
And we had an experience using meters, electromagnetic meters, EV meters, I think they call them.
Yeah.
And I want to relate that to you. This is a fascinating talk about the spirit realm we're having today on American Roundtable, part 2 of a 2-part series with Paul Meckes, noted metaphysician in the realm. I'm Al Spry. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the American Roundtable on Tough TV 38 in Orlando and the Tough TV network. I'm Al Spry. If you want to find out more about this show, well, check us out, our Facebook page out. We're so happy to interact with you and talk with you. Go to facebook.com/USA Roundtable. That's facebook.com/USA Roundtable. My special guest today is Paul Meckes. Paul Meckes is an ordained metaphysician. He has a PhD in metaphysical science that he received in 2014. He headed up the, did you currently head up the Claremont Paranormal and Metaphysical Research Society?
Yeah, about going on 5 years now.
Great. I want to get back to something that happened to me. My wife and I were doing one of these ghost tours, and they're fun and entertaining. Get to hear stories about paranormal, supernatural circumstances and events that have occurred in cities that are let's say, higher energy in this specific realm, like New Orleans, Savannah, Georgia, Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, St. Augustine, Florida, the oldest city in America. A lot of built up stuff, a lot of human interactions, a lot of occurrences that would create this type of energy. One time we went up into the top of an old barn. We were led there by the guide. We had these electronic meters, these meters that measure, I guess it would be magnetic resonance or
EMF, electrical magnetic frequencies.
Yeah, EMF meters. I think that's how they call them. And we went upstairs and we went to a specific corner that he guided us to, and I'll be darned if it didn't start registering. And this was a corner where someone murdered someone else, and it left that imprint that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So is this something that really occurred? I don't have anything to discount it.
EMF meters pick up what we call the electromagnetic frequencies. It's said when spirit comes into a particular area, place, time, wherever you are, the ions, the negative ions within the room will actually change. Brings in a lot of the negative ions. And these ions is what we feel physiologically as cold air. Your hair, jumps up on end, hair on the back of your neck. You get to feel the chills. That is the reaction. Like a
cold, like a physical cold.
Yeah, physical cold. That is our body's physiological reaction to the negative ions when a spirit comes into, starts to either manifest physically, where we can either see them or we can feel them. And that's the feeling that we get with the body, whether we can see them or not. And those EMF detectors pick up that energy. That's what those meters are actually picking up, that frequencies. And then there's EVPs, electronic voice phenomenon, or ITC, which is where the where spirit can influence the channels of sound while we're recording it through whether analog signal or digital, the tape recorders, where we ask a question and we just wait a couple seconds, and then when you play it back, you can hear like a whimper or whisper or something, or a reply to a particular question. So those are the two main gadgets out there of technology that we have been able to take advantage of.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Wow. I mean, it's just amazing to me. I have a question also. How do people make themselves more available to this realm? Like, say they want to have these interactions. What do you do? Are there exercises you can do? Do you relax? I mean, how can people put themselves in a position where they can, talk to a long departed friend or relative?
It takes, for the novice out there, for those who really, really want to get more involved in the contact of spirit, is first realizing that you are spirit, and realizing that you are that channel, that you have that connection. It's personal affirmations and meditations to help raise your vibration or frequency, which means, in a sense, good energy.
It's almost like tuning in a radio. You have to go to the right frequency in order to pick up a channel.
The higher the channel, the higher the number, the higher the frequency you're going. Now, that higher the frequency is, because what spirit, essentially within spiritualism, they teach pretty much all the certified mediums, that in order for spirit to contact us or try to interact with us, they have to lower their vibration or lower their frequency. And then we kind of have to meet in the middle for that communication.
We'll talk more about this, have some final thoughts with Paul Meckes. It's part 2 of our 2-part series on the paranormal, the metaphysical, the other realm beyond this one. I'm Al Spry. This is American Roundtable on Tough TV 38 and Tough TV. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back to our final segment in a 2-part series, talking with Paul Meckes. Paul, I'd like to personally thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
And it's really a pleasure having you. And what I want to say to you folks is I believe in this stuff. I think it's worth further investigation by everyone. I believe, like Paul says, that we're not just physical beings having a spiritual experience. We're spirits having a physical experience
Yep, the
in
human
this
experience.
specific realm. I mean, we come from nothing. When we pass away, ashes to ashes, right? So what's to say that we haven't always existed or will always exist? And there's nothing precluding this. So we were talking in the last segment, I want to follow up with this. How can people attune themselves more into communicating with the spirit realm if they so desire?
And the attunement, and that's exactly what it is. It's an attunement. We have to look at ourselves like we're an instrument. You know, you first pick up an instrument, a guitar, a tuba, whatever it is. It takes time to learn how to play it.
Yeah.
We have to learn how to use our bodies as a vehicle of communication with the
Like
with
an
the
antenna,
other side,
like
an
a,
antenna.
like a tuning an antenna.
Yep, because all these other things within the human condition get in the way. I was always told when I became a student medium is that we have to learn how to get out of our own way. And getting out of our own way is taking the five senses and kind of putting them off to the side, getting into a routine of deep meditation, or any type of meditation, guided meditation, where a CD or a tape of somebody guiding you into a relaxation, a relaxive state of raising and the ultimate goal is raising our vibration, so spirit can lower their vibration. We can meet in the middle for a communication setting.
Would you say that spirit wants to contact us, that people in the next room want to contact us, or do they want to just no, they're done with the world, they don't want to deal with us anymore?
Spirit, I feel, wants to contact us. They always have messages for us, especially our ancestors. They want to see us prosper. They want to see us live well. They want to see us be fortunate, or more fortunate than they were.
Not beat ourselves up like we like to do.
Exactly. But at the same time, too, they cannot invade free will. We still have the power of free will.
We can still screw stuff up pretty good.
Yes.
And we do.
Yep.
As humans, we have a really good track record of screwing things up. Why do you think we don't listen more to the spirits? Why do you think do you think we just like to screw stuff up? Is that our natural inclination to just be naughty?
I think it's human nature. As soon as we're in body, even though we don't remember the day we came into body, it's like, oh man, wow. And I hear this story from spiritualists, shamans, and stuff that actually have left their body and out of points of meditation or parts of meditation where you can actually leave your body, and they get back in the body. And it's like, oh my God, why did I do that? Why now? It's just.
Why am I back in the body?
Why am I back in the body?
Like, it's like I don't want to be here.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like near-death experiences. They always say, well, I felt this feeling like I was one with everything, and it was the best feeling ever, and then I heard a voice saying, nope, you're not done, and I felt disappointed. They always say that. It was like, I felt disappointed. I have to go back.
And I did have a near-death experience. I wouldn't say a near-death experience. It was an out-of-body, an OBE, an out-of-body
You had
experience.
tell us about this.
It was shortly after I graduated high school, and I had gotten a new job, and I decided, well, it's the weekend. I'll take the motorcycle out. I'll take a ride around, and see what's the best route to get to work, the next week. So, take the bike out, I'm riding, and suddenly, before I knew it, the bike was down. However, as soon as I hit those brakes, because there was a car in front of me, as soon as I hit those brakes, I blacked out. Nothing happened. Nothing physically happened to me. I didn't hit my head. That caused me to black out, to leave my body. All I remember is as soon as I grabbed those brakes, I felt myself above the scene and seeing everything going on in slow motion. Time slowed down. It was like eons and eons of time were going by, but all it was just milliseconds. And I felt that was a way, like I said, we're spirit. Does our spirit interject and get involved with certain things to prevent us from going through certain traumas? And I felt that's what that OBE was, or that out-of-body experience was a way for my spirit to save me the anguish, to save me the pain. And next thing you know, I woke up on my back, laying in the middle of the road.
But
And,
uninjured. Was there a guardian
I
angel?
wasn't, and that's the thing. I
Was
wasn't
there a
injured.
guardian angel looking out for you, perhaps?
Possibly a
You
guardian
related
angel
to me
or-
before the show that there was a gentleman, a friend of yours, that recently had a hand injury, which should have been much worse. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, a really good friend of mine this past July 4th suffered an explosion accident with, I would say, heavy-duty fireworks, which most people like to partake in.
I do not. For that very reason, I'm worried about blowing something up because I'm a klutz. But no, I know that a lot of people do.
Yeah, and he had a mortar. He had this
A
mortar.
mortar. You
and
know, a mortar is a
about-
large explosive.
And it was the size of a tennis ball, from what he told me.
Probably like a
And,
half a stick of TNT or
half
something,
a stick of
right?
dynamite, about that. Yeah, very powerful. And he was holding it in front of him about the length from his body, the length of his forearm. And as soon as he lit it, it wasn't lighting, it wasn't taking. And suddenly he lit it again, and literally before he was able to throw it, it blew off. It literally blew off all his fingers. They were able to reattach the thumb, take two of the fingers and make a pinky out of it, and about the knuckle was able to survive. Now, from what he was telling me, that the surgeon that was able to do it, he's like, you're lucky. Of the 14 people that I had to do work with tonight, you were the only one that actually needed fingers attached.
So 13
But
other people did
13
the
other
same thing.
people, most didn't make it, believe it or not. He was probably, I think, two or three survivors.
What do you mean? Most
13.
died?
Yep.
My goodness.
Face injury, face explosion, fireworks going into the chest, or fire,
And dead.
It's just and ultimate death. But he felt, when he remembered the events, and from what some of the eyewitnesses were explaining, is he should have been dead. As close as that was to his body, you have fireworks that are just real close to you. Why didn't it explode? Why did it explode out and not a 360? That, and the possibility that that event, for him staying there to do that, prevented him to go on the road to go to work, to possibly get into an accident. So that could have saved him. However, what happened was, what he felt was a guardian angel to someone. Someone was there in spirit to prevent the further explosion that could have otherwise
We
killed
could
him.
talk for hours and hours. Paul, thank you so much for joining us on American Roundtable. You know, we talk about politics a lot on this show, but we also like to talk about other more interesting topics as well. I'm Al Spry. Remember to watch us on Tough TV, Tough TV 38. Follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/USA Roundtable. And remember to keep it real and keep it tough.